Good evening. I'm Nithya Padde, and this is an ATV News special report. Tonight, we'll be looking at a local issue that affects the entire AU community, whether they know it or not. The Advisory Neighborhood Commission, ANC, is the local form of government that has authority over liquor licenses, parking enforcement, and zoning laws. Any new building developments must be approved by the ANC first. The ANC has routinely shut out students from having a say in local government, even though students make up 90% of the constituency in one of the two precincts that cover American. This year will be different. For the first time, AU student leaders are making a concerted push to get two of our own candidates elected to the ANC. Tonight, we'll tell you the story of an AU student's past attempts to get elected, the controversy sparked by the current campaign, and what all this means for the future of American University. American University's campus has been gerrymandered into two separate precincts. The north side of campus falls under 3D02, while the south side of campus is part of 3D07. Freshman Dion Jones is running unopposed for south side, while freshman Tyler Sedonis is representing north side. Sedonis is running against four-year incumbent Tom Smith. Both are running as write-in candidates due to the past contender's difficulties getting her name on the ballot.
No matter where you're from, this is our home away from home for however many years you're here, and many AU students stay here after they graduate. So, you know, the argument that we're not residents here is completely false. We have just as much residence as any neighbor who's lived here for 10, 20, 30 years. And we have just as much of a right to have a seat at the table as anyone else.
So if we want to get a new fitness center, if we want to get a new cafeteria, new residence halls to de-triple people and attract the kind of incredible students that should be going to the school, we need a voice in the community to get the resources and the approval to make that happen.
We went out last Sunday with Sedonis as he canvassed in the neighborhood.
The information that we're handing out is a letter to neighbors. What we wanted to do was address some of the, I guess, arguments that my opponent makes in some of the recent Eagle articles and in the petition, and you know, just let them know that we're still making a serious effort to learn about the community, and that we want to hear from them.
We've done this as a fourth week of canvassing, but you know, every week that goes by just really reinforces why we made the right choice to do this and why, you know, Tyler Sedonis needs to be on the ANC because he really can bring people together.
He went into the spring ballot.
Okay, all right, cool. Because Steven just caught up with him.
Oh, good.
This is what the campaign is all about. Just trying to bridge the, reduce the hostilities between neighbors and students.
We had the opportunity to sit down with Tom Smith and talk about his relations with A Voice for You campaign and his past experiences with the ANC.
I've been a neighborhood activist here in the city for almost the entire 30 years that I've lived here. So it's nothing new to me.
How come you're not on the ballot?
It's been tried before. A couple of these students in the past have tried to get on the ballot, and the Board of Elections has been very difficult to work with. They have actually rejected petitions to get on the ballot for stupid reasons, for things like spelling Massachusetts incorrectly.
Sammy Green is an AU student who was repeatedly unable to get her name on the ballot due to election technicalities, even after she had obtained the required number of signatures.
Sammy tried to be put on the ballot multiple times, and she kept being discredited because of things like signatures didn't look the exact same way, or people spelled Massachusetts the wrong way on their voter registration forms. So it just was really unfortunate that the ANC discredited all of those.
Green was unavailable for an interview. While Green faced some resistance, Sedonis is receiving an increased amount of opposition from Smith's campaign. Over the past few weeks, Smith has submitted 2 complaints and signed a petition against the AV for You campaign, Eagle Communications, and Tyler Sedonis himself.
The city has laws that are designed to protect the integrity of the elections process. And when candidates or campaigns treat those laws cavalierly or try to circumvent them or even violate them, then that compromises the elections process.
Tom Smith is citing portions of DC election law that are, simply put, not relevant to ANC races. It's really just bizarre.
On October 15th, Smith, along with 6 other voters from ANC 3D02, signed a petition to the Board of Elections and Ethics to issue a statement saying, "A Voice for You must stop spreading misleading information stating that students can register as DC voters, then switch back to their home states after this election." AV for You responded that students who switched their registration knew what they would have to go through to switch back, and that they were making an informed decision. The director of the Greek Life Engagement section of AV4U contributed to the voter registration drive. Carter Gibson spoke to us about his role in uniting AU students over the campaign.
I don't think his petitions have any merit at all. We were sent out a document with stating the legal code of the United States of America that said that what we're doing is 100% legal. The language that Tom Smith used in his petition, if enacted, would be unconstitutional. And it doesn't really matter because the law is on our side.
Smith filed 2 complaints of his own over the past weekend. The first alleges that Sedonis has not lived in the precinct long enough to be eligible. D.C. regulations state that candidates must live in the city for 90 days before the election in order to run.
From what attorneys have told me, several attorneys have told me and advised me, that applies across the board to all elected positions within the District of Columbia.
However, there are no specific rules for write-in candidates. AV4U states that Sedonis is eligible since single-member districts only require living in the precinct for 60 days.
Tom Smith says this is a poli-sci class. We're, we might be poli-sci students, but evidently we know more about DC election law than he does.
Smith's second complaint focuses on campaign finance. While AV4U says they have adhered to the $25 donation limits for each candidate, Smith contends that AV4U has freely given much more than that in services to Sedonis, and that EagleComm services were more valuable than their $500 fee. The AV4U campaign has responded that they have followed all regulations. EagleComm has agreed on a fee with AV4U based on the fact that they are a student organization.
Ed and I went to the Office of Campaign Finance. We went to the DC BOEE. We know that we're absolutely on the legal side of things.
When asked if he was willing to take this complaint to court, Smith would not give a clear answer.
It's all about complying with the law and interpretation of the law. And we'll see what happens.
He's showing all the signs of a political person who is intimidated by someone running against him.
There were also disputes over the truthfulness of Smith's claims that he had previously attempted to reach out to the AU student government.
What I've done up to now over the last 4 years is try to work through student government to facilitate an ongoing dialogue. That obviously hasn't worked.
He really can't back up what he's saying about these meetings that he said that he's tried to reach out with American University. There's no record of them. He won't provide us with one. And he's just trying to find every single way to shut us down, and it's not working.
Students have mixed feelings about this upcoming election.
I know we have one student running against Tom Smith from ANC for Northside.
Do you know what the ANC is at all?
No.
Do you know what the AV4U campaign is?
AV4U?
Yeah, the A Voice for You campaign.
No.
I do know that it's students who are trying to have a presence in Tenleytown and around the American University campus. And they are coming together to give us a voice.
Have you heard anything about the A Voice for You campaign here on campus?
No, I've heard the name, but that's it.
We went to see how the outside community feels about giving AU students a seat in the local ANC.
I think it's a very good idea for 2 reasons. One, the students have a voice, and then they also get to hear what the neighborhood thinks about the students.
Well, I trust the judgment of the students. I think they'll make a good contribution. They're younger residents, but that doesn't mean they don't have a voice in the decisions the neighborhood makes.
The petitions were filed really with a lot of encouragement, support, and initiation by constituents, by residents of this community.
We spoke to residents who supported Smith to hear their views on the election.
I am very concerned because I really do think that the American University has really motivated this.
What do you mean by that?
I think they're behind it. I don't think that students decided that they wanted to be on the ANC. I bet half the students don't even know what an ANC is.
I also think we have to recognize that the neighbors have some concerns about dorms located at that site, and we need to look at the whole plan, see if the university can mitigate those concerns.
There's a lot of safety issues with having the dorms across the street on the parking lot on Nebraska Avenue. And he's brought those items up, and it didn't seem to bother the university putting the students at risk, either with traffic or what happens if there's some type of a catastrophe, if there's a shooting there.
We haven't heard Tyler Sedanis speak. He doesn't, in the Northwest Current today, he doesn't respond to this, he doesn't respond to that. He's got talking heads in back of him or somebody telling, making statements. We haven't spoken to Tyler.
At the last meeting, Mr. Sedanis arrived at the beginning and stayed for about 20 minutes and heard the traffic report. So my concern is that if you're truly interested in serving the entire community, why haven't students in the past 3 years been present to see what the real issues are in the neighborhood?
We've got we're on Massachusetts Avenue, we've got a university, we've got Ward Circle, we've got more stuff going on here than in an enclave 3 blocks away.
This campaign continues to unfold as the election draws closer.
I think Tom Smith is scared. I think that he's very, very intimidated by what the most politically active campus can do.
This has been Nithya Padde with an ATV News special report.